Hello, everyone. We are a little late. I think we have late by 15 minutes, so we'll try to make it up. Uh, this is me, Harsha from EcoSource Solar, and I have my co-panelists and Venkat. This talk today we're going to talk about importance of quality in solar rooftop plants in apartments and how it helps to getting better financial returns. And Solar Edge is sponsoring this workshop today. I'll just briefly go over the agenda. Uh, the I'll talk about the components because that's going to be important for us to know which components are there. Most of us know about panels and inverters, but what are the intricacies within those? We'll discuss on that. Then I'll talk about panels, and Venkat will go and discuss about the inverters, and he has a lot of experience, coming from the inverter background, and he can share you experience across the globe, with that technologies and how better we can do it. And then I'll go and discuss about mounting structures, the cabling, electrical accessories, and also workmanship. At the end, Venkat would come back and discuss about some of the benefits that are there by choosing with Solar Edge inverters or string inverters. If time permits, unfortunately, I think we might come short of time. I will actually cover on some of the aspects that we need to look at in designing the solar rooftop systems for an apartment. And I'll take some live examples and can show you, but I don't know, provided there's a time. And also, we'll discuss about some maintenance aspects of the solar power plant. Now, just to about us, I'm from EcoSource Solar. We have all the talk today I'm going to do is primarily coming out of our experience working in the apartment space in Bangalore and in residential space. We have 20 plus apartments in Bangalore, and as well as 40 plus villa communities that we have done with various types of roofs, configurations, extreme customization to each roof. So we'll have, what we tell is that we have done fair amount of mistakes, learned out of it, figured it out, and have done over the time. Actually, the installation quality has improved, and I still hope that it will improve further. Um, so that's about us. So let's go into talk. Primarily, if you look at an on-grid system, right, which is they're battery-based systems, and I'm not going to go into the batteries today. I'll just talk about the on-grid system in which you are generating the power and you're either consuming it or you're selling the power to the grid. Within this, you have solar panels, the mounting structure, you have solar inverters, slash optimizers in the case of Solar Edge, DC cabling, AC cabling, electrical accessories, and DC earthing. These are various components that you have, right? Um, so it's not a just a regular just put an inverter and panels. There's a lot of other things happen as well. So just to give you this is I just want to play installation in one of the apartments so that you get a feel for what it takes. This is a 100 kilowatt system, 105 kilowatt system that was done at Arc Serene. um, this is almost like March 29th. I think it's 1 year, 1.5 year old. We have different types of panels, and I'll discuss about the types of panels that you may want to consider. This is one type of a module which is monocrystalline. There are other types of modules, and we'll discuss about that in the talk. These are the mounting structures that I was talking about, which is where you keep the panels on the top. And what are the issues with type of structures, right? That we'll have some discussion on that as well. This is a power optimizers. This is solar edge optimizers that actually go below the solar panel. So you do need to ensure that these are properly mounted as well. And when you're looking at the life of the plant for 25 years, this becomes very important. These are the, I mean, that's some remote monitoring, but these are the inverters actually what you see behind. Uh, and then there's a cabling and other things as well. So there's a remote monitoring, which also becomes important for the life of a plant. I'll just forward it. You need to have walkway spaces that you can see, to maintaining of the plant. Uh, so I think have most, okay. So I'm just forwarding it. So this apartment gets almost like 1 lakh rupees of saving. So in a month, it says. So I hope you got some picture. I mean, I wish we had taken some photos of the earthing and other things as well. Uh, but uh, but that's you can look at as a system. What are the things that go in? Let's discuss on the solar panels. Uh, Solar panels you would find in the market, different types: silicon amorphous, cadmium telluride, copper diselenide, SIGS they call it, silicon polycrystalline and silicon monocrystalline. Now, when you see these modules, it used to be a lot more of them in the market even last year, but more or less in 2020 and in 2019, in Indian market they're kind of adapted to two technologies, which is silicon monocrystalline and silicon polycrystalline. Now, what you see here is efficiency factors, okay, 20%, 18%. Um, what it means is that in a given space, right, if this panel is 18%, it generates same amount of power as this panel, which is much smaller in size, right? So because that's 20% efficient, the both of them are rated the same, means they both generate the same amount of power, but the space that it takes is a much lesser. Now that's kind of important because when you're putting a plant, you may want to it might be cheaper to put some of these modules, but it might be, in long run it may not actually add value to your financial returns, because you know you can only have that much of kilowatt of system on your roof, right? So because of that, I think we may want to adapt better efficient technologies so that you could actually generate more power over the course of 25 years. So if you look at the differences between the monocrystalline, because other technologies are more or less not there in India today, and we are only talking about mono and polycrystalline. The monocrystalline panels, you find this, they are the highest efficiency today in the market. One of the reason why you do get higher capacity with the monocrystalline compared to poly is that the silicon purity, I mean, even when you see the panel, you can actually see these crystals in different form, whereas this is a single crystal that they cut the cells, so they actually, by the technology itself, monocrystallines are efficient modules, compared to polycrystalline. Both of them have got some advantages over the SIGs and other panels that I was talking about in terms of efficiency, but between them also there are differences. So then you look at monocrystalline, as I said, space efficiency is there. And also there is something called effect of temperature. Monocrystalline panels tend to be more efficient in warm weathers compared to polycrystalline. The differences are very less, but it is there. The monocrystalline does generate more power if you are at a higher temperatures. Bangalore, doesn't necessarily have that issue, primarily because our temperatures are around 25 to 30 degrees compared to maybe Chennai. Maybe the temperatures go 35 to 45. So that way, maybe that factor may not be that much in terms of the temperature losses, primarily because Bangalore is a little colder weather. Uh, but also one has to know that within the monocrystalline modules, right, you have different manufacturers make different modules with a different temperature coefficient. Different temperatures, they degrade faster, or I mean, they generate less uh, at different temperatures. Now, one has to also evaluate when you are looking at the solutions whether which one has got more effect on the temperature. Again, Bangalore being a cold place, we are at 25 degrees, which happens to be the standard test conditions where these modules are made, or the cells where the cells produce maximum power. We are more or less, that effects of temperatures is not much specific to Bangalore, but that's not true in other parts of the country. Now, so also they claim that the in the low irradiance performance, monocrystalline does produce better power than polycrystalline. We have not seen that much of a difference in our installations. Again, as I said, maybe because of Bangalore weather, but these differences are there uh, nevertheless. One thing which actually for Bangalore installations, which I would definitely recommend, is to really look at efficiency of space, uh, uh, factor, where monocrystalline does beat polycrystalline there. Polycrystalline does come at a much cheaper cost compared to monocrystalline. You do save good amount of money with polycrystalline, but it's always better to go with a better technology, and even if it's a higher expense, it has its own generation. Over the time, we expect that generation gaps might be increased. So recommendation our recommendation would be to monocrystalline. Having said that, poly is not bad either here in Bangalore. Now, just to give you some perspective, this is with the Arc Serene apartment where we've done the work. um, so for example, the size of the panel is 1 by 2 by meter, each panel size. And if you look at the requirement here, for the same 50 kilowatt system, you would need 131 panels of 380 watt peak, whereas if we had gone for polycrystalline, then you would need around 140 numbers of 335 watt peak. The 9 panels is literally 300, 250 to 300 square feet of space that you are actually saving by just going with the monocrystalline modules. So that's all I have on the solar panels, and I'll let Venkat take over from here and talk about the inverters and the technologies and how they evolve, or which is better. Venkat, and then I'll take back over that. Venkat, you can share the screen, right?
Yeah, thank you, Harsha. So can you just confirm is my screen is visible?
Yes.
Okay. So good morning to all. First of all, thanks to all for taking interest and taking time out of your busy schedule in Sundays and joining this workshop. So quickly, let me introduce myself. My name is Venkatesan, and I'm associated with SolarEdge for the last 4 years. And I'm being taking care of all the technical part in SolarEdge and for India and Sri Lanka. So today, if you see, the topic is being good that we are going to discuss is importance of the quality in the solar PV plant. So when we talk of solar PV plant or a project, so starting from modules, your inverter structures, everything is very important because you are going to.
Venkat, your audio, somehow there's some disturbance with the audio. Not sure.
Let me check. Sorry for that. Just give me a minute.
There is this static noise behind, actually.
Is it better now?
I guess it's still there.
Okay, if it's not too much of disturbance, let me continue. Let us not waste the time.
Sure.
Yeah. So if you take the inverter, as Harsha was discussing about the PV modules, and when you come on the inverter, if you see the significance of the inverter, actually, if you see in the total project cost, the inverter contributes to 10% of your total system cost. But it can influence even up to 100% of your system production, because the inverters are the one which is going to be like a brain of your system. So moment your inverter is down, it is not working or it is not performing up to the expectants, then obviously your energy generation is going to drop, and which is going to lead to a lot of revenue loss. So the selection of inverter is something very, very important in your whole system. How you are giving importance to selection of the PV module, the same way we need to give the importance of the selection of the PV inverters also. So today, if you see in the market, we have different technologies of products available, like starting, let's say, central inverter. So central inverters are mainly used in the large scale ground mount projects. So where it goes in megawatt scale. Then comes the string inverter. So today in the string inverter, we have different makes and models are available. And then we have the smart inverters, or we call it as an MLPE, that is module level power electronics. So basically, I'm just not going to discuss in detail about central inverters or string inverters difference and what is the difference about smart inverters. I'm just going to highlight what are the features we have it in the smart inverters and what is missing in the string inverter. So that will give a fair idea why somebody need to go for the latest technology of the smart inverters. So today, if you talk of any PV module, as Harsha was mentioning, we'll have a IV curve. So technically, they call it as a curve between a voltage and the current. And at one particular point, every PV module will give the maximum power. And if you see how the construction happens is the PV modules are connected in series, and the inverter will harvest the power and convert the DC to AC, that is from direct current to the alternate current, because all our appliances, everything runs on the AC. So that's where we convert the DC to AC. So in this process, there is a kind of a mechanism running in the inverter called MPPT. So what is MPPT is maximum power point tracker. What it does, it tries to harvest the maximum power from the given PV panels. So when we connect the modules in series, let's say for some reason, one of the PV module is producing lesser than expected. So theoretically in this slide, we have connected 4 modules and each module is supposed to produce 250 watt peak of power. But for some reason, this module is producing only 242. Either it could be because of a bird dropping, or there could be some kind of a shadow on this panel, or panel itself might be having some manufacturing defect. So moment one of the panel is producing lesser, then what happens? Obviously, the performance of the other PV module in the same string will get dropped. So this is what we call it as a module mismatch loss, which contributes to the power loss and the energy loss. If you see why really this is happening because of the MPPT at the string level. So we call this as a string, and this MPPT is performing at the string level for entire 4 modules. This performance is happening. So that's where one module which is not producing or underperforming determines the performance of the other module. So this is the biggest limitation that we have in the traditional inverter. And if you just deep dive into what are the reasons that could be for the module mismatch, so these are some of the reasons. So I will not get into the detail, like typically like due to some transportation damage or different tilt and orientation when we talk of a villa project or even apartment projects because of shading and soiling. So these are some of the sources that could create the module mismatch. And the most important thing is the degradation or aging of the PV panel. So a PV panel is naturally tend to degrade every year. So the year 1, what is generating the same power, you will not get in the year 2 or year 3. So we call it as a degradation process. Typically, all the modules are supposed to degrade in a uniform pattern, but practically if you see in the field, every PV panel will have its own degradation factor. So some panel may be degraded at 2%, some may be degrading at 1%, for example. So because of this uneven degradation, what happens? The module mismatch loss keep increases year on year. So typically if we see today, what's the challenge we have in the traditional inverters? One is the energy loss because of the module level, because of the string level MPPT, that is a maximum power point tracking mechanism. Second, you have a lot of limitations in terms of design. So once a company is trying to put a PV project on your roof, the first thing they try to do is they try to find the non-shadow region. They try to find the similar orientation. So like that, you have a lot of constraints in the traditional inverter. And third is the resolution of the monitoring. Today, all the traditional inverter gives the only inverter level data. When I say data, what is inverter is generating, how is the performance of the inverter, they give only those information to you. They don't really give any details about the PV module. So as we saw in the first slide, 60% of your investment is going on the PV module, but you don't have a mechanism to measure or monitor those PV panels. This is the third limitation, and last is the safety. Safety is the biggest challenge of what we are having in the traditional inverter. So I will explain in detail what is the safety problem that we have in the traditional inverter. So in SolarEdge, how we are overcoming these limitations. So just to give a simple example, if you take a multiple rider bicycle, so this is something similar to the traditional inverter. So in this example, if one of the rider is not able to perform equal to other, obviously the speed of your bicycle gets reduced. So this is exactly how the string level MPPT or the traditional inverter works. So moment one of the PV module doesn't perform well, then obviously other PV module performance drops. Whereas in SolarEdge, what we did, we brought the module level MPPT, meaning every panel or every two panel will have its own MPPT instead of string level, something similar to this, where every rider will have its own gear mechanism, so that the overall performance of the plant or overall performance of the your project gets improved. So that's what exactly we are doing in SolarEdge. So just to give an idea, this is how the traditional inverter will look, where you have the MPPT at the string level or the DC to AC. In SolarEdge, what we did, we just splitted the inverter into two parts. So if you just recall Mr. Harsha's videos, he showed one device called optimizer. So basically what this optimizer does, it performs the MPPT at the module level, and inverter is simplified. It just converts only the DC to AC, so that all the intelligence, everything is taken care by the optimizer. So you're now the regular module becomes more intelligent and your efficiency also increases. So when you compare with the same example of 4 modules, even if one module is underperforming, that will not impact the performance of the other module in the same string. So that's the kind of smartness we have brought in our technology. So basically, if you see in our solution, you have an optimizer which helps to harvest maximum power from each and every panel. So just to give or tell in a very simple layman term words, you take the maximum juice out of your PV panels using our optimizer, and this comes with a 25-year standard warranty. The product warranty for this optimizer is 25 years. And then comes your inverter. So this inverter converts only DC to AC, that is conversion of DC direct current to the alternating current, and then it gets exported to the grid, or you consume in your apartment or in your residential building. And this inverter comes with a 12-year warranty. And if you want to extend the warranty to 20 or 25 years, that option is also available. So which means for next 20 years, your devices are secured and you have a complete warranty. So you have a complete peace of mind about the components. So you not to worry that after 5 years, if my component fails or the inverter fails, what will happen? You need not worry about that. So you have a completely a long-term warranty from us. And then comes the module level monitoring. So this is the biggest difference what we bring in comparison with the traditional inverters. As I told, traditional inverters will not give the panel level monitoring, whereas in our solution, we give the panel level monitoring. So each and every panel you can measure in our monitoring portal. And this comes free for lifetime. So there is no any charges for this. So using your smartphone, using your tab or laptop or computer, you can always remotely monitor. So you need not to go to the roof or just have a computer dedicated to monitor or something. Remotely sitting in your home at your comfortness, you can always monitor the performance of the power plant. So that's what we do in terms of solution. And when you come to the what are the features that we have, as I told, you have the module level monitoring, which means you have the complete management of your asset. So you're investing so much of money on your PV plant, and definitely that should give you the better revenue. So in terms of asset, you can completely manage it because of the module level monitoring, and your wind up cost also, the operation and maintenance cost also can be brought down to a large extent. Since we have the module level monitoring, you can just pinpoint where the problem is happening, or the software only will tell you where the problem has happened in case if there is anything. So you can also easily identify by seeing the color difference in the module level monitoring. Moment you open our monitoring page, and if you see everything in light blue color, that means your plant is working normally. And moment if you see any change in color of the PV panel, then you know, okay, that particular module is having some problem. And you can always go and do further analysis in our monitoring tool only. And then you can get to know what's the reason for that. And you can also ensure that your system availability is increased compared with the traditional inverter, because in our solution, as I told, we have the module level MPPT. Even if one module is having a problem, that is not going to impact the performance of the other module. And moment if there is any problem, immediately the software is going to alert you saying that there is a problem in this particular component. So that way you can always ensure that your system availability is higher than compared to the traditional inverter. Most important thing, you can increase the revenue of your project, not only by having the module level MPPT, also by occupying more roof space. So today, if you see, the real estate cost is very high, and not only in Bangalore, throughout any place. So we want to utilize the complete space of the roof. So if you take traditional inverter, because of lot of constraints in terms of shadow objects, water tanks, like mobile towers and other things, you need to leave lot of space for those areas, and will be putting only lesser PV panel. Whereas with SolarEdge, you can always be assured that you are completely utilizing your roof area, which means directly it is going to earn more revenue for you. So this is a simple example how our monitoring tool can be effectively used. So this is one of a residential project where a customer has installed a PV panel, and almost for 8 months everything was working normally. And one fine day he saw the two modules are having a lightly like almost black color. And interestingly, you can see only these two modules are black color, other modules are keep normally working. So when he did analysis in our monitoring portal, he found that these two modules are underperforming compared to the other module. He was surprised why suddenly this has happened. So when he called the installer to check what was the problem, so he had a water tank. So he wanted to cover that water tank with a object so that direct sunlight doesn't fall on the water tank. So that cover was creating a shadow, and it was immediately reflecting in our monitoring portal. So this is the power of the monitoring tool. So anything that happens at the module level or anything that happening at the inverter level, immediately you will get an alert so that you can rectify it immediately so that you are not losing any energy generation. That's the power of our monitoring tool. So coming on to the safety, a simple question: whenever you are buying a car, I'm sure nobody will compromise on your car safety. Not only car, whether you are going for your any buildings or anything, definitely you will not compromise on your building safety also. Then why do you want to compromise on the PV safety? So I'm talking of PV safety. So you may ask a question, why it is important a PV safety? Because it is lying in my roof and it is working, so what is so great about the PV safety? So the PV is also is one of a very important thing. It is generating power for you, and that because of that PV, either you should not get any fire accident, or your operation and maintenance team forget about the maintenance team. Even if your own kids and kids should not get, whenever they are going to the roof, they should not get exposed to the high DC or the AC thing. So that where the PV safety is very important. And if you see today in the rest of the world, you take any part of the world, everybody gives high importance for the PV. And in many countries, there is a by law itself that your PV safety should be ensured. So when I talk of PV safety, what exactly we mean is, so moment the PV inverter is switched off, either you switch it off or the grid fails, what the SolarEdge inverter does it brings the module voltage to 1 volt. So typically, if you take the traditional inverter, moment the grid fails or the inverter gets switched off, still you will be having the high DC voltage, either 600 volts or 800 volts until the sunlight is available. Because till the sunlight is available, the PV panel will have a voltage. We cannot stop it until you cover it with some object. If you are not covering it, then still the panels will be having the voltage. And whenever there is any problem, so this high voltage can lead to any fire accident, or even it can be a biggest safety hazardous for you. So in the conventional system, you don't have an option to turn off this high DC voltage. Whereas in SolarEdge, what we do, moment the inverter is turned off, so we bring the module voltage to 1 volt per PV panel or 1 volt per PV optimizer. So that way, you're not having a high DC voltage at any point of time when the system is not generating power. So to make it very simple or clear, you can see in the conventional system, even though if you're not power is not generating, still you will be having a high DC voltage. Whereas in SolarEdge, you will be having only voltage of less than 50 volts. So which is less than 50 volts is always safe for a human being. So that way, SolarEdge completely have a very safety system. So at the module level, we bring the safety, and apart from that, we also have the arc fault protection. So moment any arc happens on the DC side because of any loose connection or anything, immediately the inverter will get triggered. So with SolarEdge system, you can always have a complete assurance that you will not have any safety issues. So with that, I'm just handing over to Harsha once again. So before handing over, just to quickly recap. So these are the 4 key benefits that we bring in terms of our solution. One is more energy because you have the module level MPPT, and then the lower O&M cost, that is operation and maintenance cost, because of the module level monitoring. Safety is part of our DNA, that is part of our solution, and then you don't have any constraint in terms of the design. So that way you have the completely, you have a advanced technology or advanced solution when you go with the SolarEdge. And if you have more questions or if you want more details, we will be happy to come and meet you and then give a detailed presentation. So because of time constraint, I'm just quickly wrapping up. So with that, I will hand it over to Harsha. Harsha, you can just carry on.
Sure. Thanks, Venkat. Arun, do you want to play the SolarEdge video now, or can I complete my presentation and then do it?
I think you can just go ahead with the presentation, Harsha. Maybe later we can just play the video.
Okay, sure. So thanks, Venkat. It was very useful, and we'll cover some of the financial aspects of the inverter at the end of the session. I'll just quickly go through, and then I think we have other 10-15 minutes. I'll just go in other next 5 minutes. Hopefully, I'll cover most of this, and then we'll quickly go on the financials. On the mounting structures, there are 3 types that one has to look at. One is a mild steel, galvanized iron, aluminum structures. The one of the things with mild steel structures is to avoid the rusting, you do need to paint them periodically, which is, it's done all over, but it's just one extra work that one has to do, right? And it requires good maintenance as well. Same thing with the galvanized iron. People do say that let's use galvanized iron, but again, the problem here is that there could be some portions, there could be some rupture, when you're tightening a bolt or something, and then that actually could internally start eating the iron inside, and then it could eventually that becomes a problem, and then you may have to again maintain them. And miles as well. The third one is aluminum structures. Of course, you don't need any maintenance because they don't, by nature, they don't rust. The other one is the strength of structure over a period of time. Again, when you do rust, the strength of structure goes down. Now you might have designed a system to last long for 25 years, but then when you do get the rust, you are at the mercy, right, of the weather, and eventually the structural strength might go. So you want to again ensure that rusting doesn't form, and properly it is painted and stuff, which is okay, but again, it's something that one has to keep in mind, that it has to be maintained. So same thing with the galvanization. I was saying rusting could happen here as well. It also becomes a little difficult to identify where the small rustings are happening, but again, if you do proper maintenance, this problem could be taken care. The other one is the aluminum structures. The strength of um, corrosion is not possible. It's very minimal. Is almost maintenance is nil in case of aluminum structures, but there are limitations with aluminum structures. One is the height of aluminum. You don't get these like big aluminum doesn't have a strength to hold for a longer column, so you have limitation of maybe 1.2 meters max uh, length uh, columns. So that's one thing. The second also that one has to look at is the fasteners that you use to tighten these bolts. That has to be SS, again, so that they don't rust. You don't get them in aluminum, so you have to use SS bolts. Again, the one thing which we try to not to do in most places, having said that, we do have done the drilling on the roof wherever possible. It's good to avoid any drilling, and then so you do the precast ballast so that you can actually avoid any kind of waterproofing need to be done later if you drill. So that could save. um, uh, so this is elevated structures. Now in these structures, and if you want to have a higher generation, because of the shadow issues, so that your financial returns are more over the years, right? So you do need to invest some money on the elevated structures so that you can actually avoid the shadows. So this is one of the installations right next to the World Trade Center, and we had shadows in the tank room, staircase room. So we do need to elevate the structures. So one could actually look at that. If you are looking at the elevation structures, it will be some amount of money that you would put, but you would get that money back in the future because you avoid the shadows. Also, the structural analysis of these structures needs to be done so that you do have take care of the wind speeds that are prevailing in that area. So these are some of the. I won't play the video in interest of time. Just see if I can just show you. This is actually one of our installations. We do need to. Okay, sorry. Yeah, here we didn't have to put, but on the other hand, we had to put elevated structure here because there's shadow which is coming from the building right on the right side. So just skip it now. This is another installation, at Brigade Metropolis. We have to look at, we did the grouting here, but we do need to ensure that the structural stability was maintained. A lot of work has been done to, to ensure that the panels, there's enough walking space and, people can maintain them. This is another installation. Uh, you know, so it's on a very elevated roof, so we do need to do specific designs. I'm just skipping it. Uh, so let me just quickly go over the cabling and wiring very quick. Uh, Hopefully we can we started a little late by 11:10. Maybe we'll get some extension on the time. Conduiting is important. You do need to UPVC conduiting cabling. Distribution boxes needs to be, something that are polycarbonate so that they don't rust. They don't create a problem in the future. I mean, these boxes are, once there's a company called Encel that we use. We recommend, others also to use them. They're IP65 compliant. They actually can withstand the thermal, heat, so that the proper temperatures are maintained inside the boxes. So a lot of those advantages are there. So you should look at this. For example, these little clamps, right? You would not see them even in our household installations. We use these OBO clamps, again, this, polycarbonate clamps, which can actually last longer in the exposed environments outside. I mean, they're meant to last forever, right? This is plastic actually. Whereas you use this MS, GI and MS, those things, you would see them rust over time. And this you'll find everywhere. Other things is you need to ensure that SPDs are done, properly. I'll skip this, but most of these are surge protection devices, uh, which needs to be there to protect any surges from AC or DC side. So you'll have these indicators whether these are are working or not. So that needs to be taken care. Using the right connectors. For example, a lot of times you see these two cables here. There are people actually come and just do a cellophane tape, wrap it up, with insulation tape, and do those things. There's absolutely no for solar side, because you are actually you're a source of energy that's coming, and it's a DC, and you really don't want to do those things. You need to use proper connectors, which is very important. End connectors, I mean, for example, we use these little things. People do miss out on these things, where there is enough gap between the cabling, so that there's no chance of any short that could happen. These are good practices, but unfortunately a lot of places that where we have seen, and Venkat has seen more of them with other installations, they burn out over time. Feruling, naming the things, so that after 10 years, if someone wants to look at this generation, any cabling they want to do, it all should be there, so that it's easy to maintain over time. um, you know these are the different boxes. The glands is something that's equally important, because you don't want any lizards or insects going inside, water dripping in, so that it's completely watertight when you put them. So this is just a, you know these are some of the installations. When I talk about workmanship, it's equally important to have the workmanship to be done. This is from one of our installations. Needs to be done properly, so that it's easy to maintain later. And also, visually, if it's right, I think there's something is right about the system that needs to be taken care as well. These are different installations of ours. So that's my end of talk. Venkat, I'll let you speak about from financial benefits. I think there's no other talk after this. Maybe we can extend the talk by maybe 5 to 10 minutes more.
Okay, thanks, Harsha. So just to give a clarity, maybe Harsha was little overgoing it. If you see, actually, each and every small things also makes a lot of difference when you are doing a PV project. Because whatever Harsha was showing, the ferrules, the glands, everything is very important, because we are seeing a project for next 20 years, something a big asset that we are putting on our roof. So maybe just spending another few thousands extra will definitely make worth of it, because each and every detailing is very important. So I would request all these forum members, don't please get compromised on the quality because of your pricing. So even if you pay little bit extra, please ensure that you are installing a quality product and you are engaging a quality installer who is having a quite experience in this field. Because today, if you just Google it, you can find n number of installers in and around Bangalore or Karnataka. But if you see actually what is their background, how they are doing the installation, please evaluate and then go for it. So with that, let me quickly explain why SolarEdge, or what are the lifetime cost that we need to consider whenever you are evaluating a project. So on a broad level, we can define the categories like a BOS cost, that is balance of system cost, then the inverter replacement cost, lifetime operation and maintenance cost, and the revenue what we are going to generate, that is on the positive, and the total system lifetime value. So these are the four components that we are going to see quickly, and how SolarEdge is going to help you to make more money out of it. So firstly, when you talk of the balance of system cost, so the main advantage what we bring in our system is a 50% reduction in the DC cable. So when I say 50% reduction in the DC cable, so that means up to 50% you are reducing a risk on failure on the fires safety. So when you have more number of cable in your roof, obviously that means you have more risk and more failures. So that's where SolarEdge is very, from the beginning we were thoughtful, and then we ensured that in our design we are losing lesser DC cable, which means you are having lesser risk and the lesser number of failures. So that way you are also saving on the BOS cost, and plus you are also bringing lot of advantages. Then comes the inverter replacement cost. And today if you see, almost all 90% of the inverter manufacturer gives only 5 years warranty for their product, whereas SolarEdge is the only company which gives 12 years product warranty, and the optimizer is given 25 years, which is equal to your project lifetime cost. So that means the inverter replacement cost for the next 20 years or 25 years with SolarEdge is going to be lesser compared with the traditional inverter. And then comes the maintenance cost. As I told, since we have the module level monitoring, you can always pinpoint the problem. Even before going to the site, you can pinpoint exactly, okay, where is the problem, what is the problem. So that way, the number of man hours you're spending on the roof or other things will be drastically brought down. So you'll be having a lesser O&M cost. So if you take just an operational maintenance cost, normally you'll be having an overhead, then you'll be having a software to monitor it additionally, and then because from that software you can do the preventive and corrective maintenance. So whereas in our thing, so that all these can be reduced, almost you can have 15 to 25% of the cost saving with our monitoring and with our solution. So that way you'll have the lesser O&M cost. So then comes the most important factor in any project is the revenue. So as I told, one, you can have utilize your roof area, which means you can put more PV panel, which means you'll have more energy and more revenue. And since we have the module level monitoring, module level MPPT, so obviously and approximately you can get 3% higher energy generation compared with the traditional inverter. So 3% maybe looks very small number, but when you calculate or when you put it in a financial and see, that makes a lot of difference to you, which means you'll have better ROI, better IRR, so that you'll have a higher revenue also. When you put all this into a project, if you see, definitely you'll have a higher lifetime cost with SolarEdge. So even though you're slightly investing a little bit higher price on the beginning, but those price can be offsetted with these benefits we are giving. So just don't see only based on your price. You also see for the features, what are the inverters companies are manufacturing, what features they have, whether it is advanced technology, whether it's having all the safety precautions or safety features, it has module level monitoring. So look for those and then please accordingly take your call. So that's it from my side for today. So I know you will be having a lot of questions. So just to manage times, we are closing here. If you have any questions, you can always reach me or Mr. Harsha. So just to give a brief background about SolarEdge, we are an Israeli company and we started our operations in 2006. So we have our headquarters in Israel, and then today we have direct presence in 28 countries that includes India. So for Indian operations, we have Bangalore, our headquarters. So we have our office in Sadashiv Nagar. So anytime anybody would like to visit our office, we would like to have you in our office so that you can see all the products that we have it, and then we can also have a very detailed discussion. And apart from that, we have engineers and sales managers sitting across India, and we are a listed company. So we are listed in NASDAQ in US share market. And today, if you see, SolarEdge is having almost 21 gigawatt of installations globally. And to very specific, in Bangalore, in various apartments, we have completed almost 15 installations. That's a brief background about us. And you can always visit our website to get more details. Or if you want to reach us also, we have given the email ID and the sales manager number. You can always call us and then you can reach us. Thanks to BAF for giving us this opportunity. Thanks, Harsha. Thanks, Mr. Arun. So in case if you want to take up the Q&A, we can take it up now.
Sorry, I dropped in between. So maybe I can, Venkat, we can take some questions.
Yeah.
There's some questions which has come in chat.
So Harsha, just to give
Actually dropped out. I think I lost.
Yeah, I will read it out for you. So one question is for you on the why solar cell efficiency is so low, like only 13 to 15%. Maybe I think you're the right person to answer that. Harsha? So there is a one question from Mr.
Venkat, can you? My connection is just died at the Wi-Fi.
Okay. So one question is why the solar cell efficiency is so low? Only 13 to 15% is one question.
Wrong time. Hello?
Is it audible now? Harsha?
Yeah, sorry, Arun. Can you hear me, Arun?
Yeah, we are able to hear you.
Yeah. Venkat, can you repeat that?
Yeah, why the efficiency of the solar cells are so low is one question.
Yeah. So one, I mean, I think the primarily one could acknowledge that because there is a theoretical limit on the solar cell efficiency itself, which is usually, I believe that's like 33.5% or something. I mean, maximum that it could actually generate. And that actually depends, that primarily comes because of the conversion, from the light to, the electricity. There is a conversion limits. The second is also on the purity of the silicon that we use. So over the time, the efficiency has improved in last 5 years. We have seen ourselves from, what is available commercially, which used to be 15, 16%. Now we are talking about 21% to 22% in some of the high-end cells. We believe that's going to further increase, but there are some theoretical limits on how much it can actually increase over time.
Thanks, Harsha. So there is another question. Can someone visit our apartment? And Mr. Radhakrishnan has shared his email ID so that we can definitely, Harsha team can visit and then we can do the needful, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is mentioned one more, Mr. Anil has asked like 1 lakh savings. So it was not mentioned with previous usage and present usage. I think Mr. Harsha can share the case study with you, sir, so that you can get an idea like how that 1 lakh saving was being demonstrated. So that's it pretty much, Harsha. I couldn't see any other questions.
Yeah, definitely. I think we can actually share the, we have actually the data of generation for 1.5 years, which we definitely can share. Actually, I do have those slides, unfortunately, because of the time, I'm not able to share, but definitely, so, I mean, anyone you can contact me. I'll just put my email ID, that's harsha@ecosoc.com. You can actually reach out to us. We'll be happy to, see the real generation. We have data from, we have 350 systems in Bangalore, right? And we have most of the sites, we have a lot of, at least 200 systems. So we do have some amount of generation details at each individual site. You would be welcome to actually see them. I mean, when we discuss, for anyone, we would be happy to share the data.
And we do have a virtual booth. So in there, we have given all the product details, and then we have put a case study also, which we have done exclusively for one of the apartment in Bangalore. So earlier, how was their energy generation or what was their electricity bill? And after adopting solar, we have given a case study how much their savings have been made. So you can just go and download those data from our virtual booth. In case if you have any difficulties, you can always reach us so that we can share the details one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah, there is also a booth for EcoSoc as well. You can definitely visit us. There was issue yesterday with sharing the business cards and other things. I believe that's fixed now. So, if you could, again, if you visit, just share your apartment details or your villa or individual home details. We would be happy to, talk to you and then take it forward.
Okay, thank you, Harsha. Thanks once again to all for taking your time and participating in this workshop. So we know that still you might be having some questions, so always feel free to reach us. So thank you. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.